Good afternoon, everyone, and once again, thanks for joining us today for this general information session focusing on the school-based learning activities and courses that have been designed just for past participants, but very much encouraged to share beyond past schools, and hoping that you'll get a bit more of an understanding and awareness of what's on offer through this afternoon's session. Before I go any further, I'd like to start by welcoming you all, but also acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which I work, live and learn, and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. I particularly acknowledge the Bunurong people, the traditional custodians of the land on which I live and meet with you today. I'd also like to pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. My name's Sophie. I work at the Asia Education Foundation, and hopefully you've seen my face before. I work with Emmeline, and we're delighted that you've been able to put aside an hour today just to get a bit more familiar with these activities. It's a largely informal session, and we do very much encourage you to ask questions as we progress. And you can do that either via the chat box where you've introduced yourself, but also by putting up your hand. If you remember from previous sessions, the hand at the bottom of the screen with that row of icons, you can alert us to you having a question by using that. We'd also like to just check that you've got your camera on, that your microphone is off, that you're on mute for when you're not talking, that you can, if you wish, turn captions on by accessing that function through the three little dots at the bottom of the screen. And as I said, use the chat box to introduce yourselves and ask questions. We hope that that's all becoming very familiar for you at this point in the program, and you're feeling comfortable using those options in a Google Meet. I'd also like to just spend a little bit of time now asking others to introduce themselves. So if we just start perhaps with the past team. And over in Port Moresby, we've got Medi and Junior with us, I think. Would you like to just say hello, Medi and Junior?
Hola. Hi. Junior here.
So Junior, and then we've got Medi in the boardroom there.
Hi.
And Aaron's joined us also. And then if I could just hand over to Em to say hello.
Hi everyone, good to see you all again, and great to see that you all seem set up. It sounds like the video conferencing devices that were sent are working. We've got a great view of everyone that's around the desks or the tables.
Makes such a difference. Really clear reception, it's great. I'm going to ask my colleague Medi just to lead us with an opening prayer, if you don't mind, Medi.
Okay, thanks, Sophie, and good afternoon, everyone. Let's begin this session with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you as we gather again together this afternoon. We give you thanks and we give you honor for who you are and what you are to us. We thank you, God, because in you we move, we breathe, and we have our being. And thank you, God, again for this wonderful time that we can come together as a team and share what is before us this afternoon. Father, I pray and commit this session into your hands and ask that the Holy Spirit, who is our guide, our teacher, and counselor, will lead us through this session, guiding us throughout our sharing and inspiring us and clarifying things for us as we move forward for the activities that are ahead of us. We bless you, we praise you, and I thank you for the men and women that are here from the various schools and institutions that are in this afternoon. Father, pray and speak that your blessing and your protection will continue to abide within us as we continue to live within these trying times. We bless you, we praise you, and we ask this prayer in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is our Savior. Amen.
Thanks very much, Medi. Before we go on, I'm just going to touch on a bit of an overview of what we're hoping to achieve this afternoon. As hopefully you're aware by now, there is quite a range of school-based learning activities and courses that have been made available to PAS schools. We launched them some weeks ago, and we're now wanting to just spend some time exploring all the resources that are available to support those courses and give you some space and time to improve or increase your understanding of what's available and ask any questions. We're really hoping that you'll engage with these different activities and ideally get the most out of them going forward. They are structured into, I guess, 3 categories. The first being professional learning courses, and Em, my colleague at the Asia Education Foundation, is going to provide a bit of an overview of those. I'm going to provide a bit of an overview of the teaching and learning courses, and then Junior over at PNG Port Moresby is just going to give you all a reminder regarding the Climate Resilience Design Sprint to be held next Thursday, the 5th of August. We'll then open up for questions and answers and provide a bit of an insight into next steps. So it's a largely informal session. Do ask questions as we go. We'll be showing a couple of videos along the way that have been submitted as part of the course offerings, just to give you an idea of what they're about. They've been recorded by the designers. And in essence, these activities, we hope, build on what was offered to PAS schools throughout 2020. They're going to be available at least until September. We'll be around to support your use of them until September at this point, but we hope that they'll have much longer use beyond September. We encourage not only PAS schools to use them, but share them with your colleagues, talk to your colleagues about them, and once again, come back to us with any queries. We're here to support your use of them. And if we don't know, we're in a position to go back to the designers to clarify any queries you may have. We also see these activities as a great way for PNG schools and coaches in particular to put your improved internet connections and IT equipment to use. So we can see that that's happening today, and we really encourage you to use that improved infrastructure and equipment for the purposes of tapping into these activities and hopefully delivering them to your classes, sharing them with your colleagues going forward. So the school-based learning activities are well underway. We actually commenced, you may recall, way back when we launched the Windows on the World activity. That was a whole of cohort project back in March, and has now closed. But the entries for that project are all up on the PAS website, and we encourage you to visit that. And we hope to be able to use those entries as part of a celebration in coming months. Then you'd be aware that we conducted the Learning Bank Resource Sprint that occurred back in April, and we had good participation from both PNG schools and Australian schools. And the suggestions made in those sessions, sprint sessions, were taken, and we ended up adding a whole lot more resources and activities to the Learning Bank, also available on the PASS website. So as I mentioned earlier, we're now moving into the delivery of the professional learning courses and the teaching and learning activities. And on the screen there, in Tokpis are the names of the courses. And for our Australian audience, for the professional learning courses, we have a coaches training stream, and that is targeted at the PNG participants. There's 24 coaches, as you hopefully are aware, that are undertaking training. There's also the All Leader Mary, All Women Lead, which has also been targeted at the PNG participants and launched last week, with along with the coaches training, and will continue to be delivered over coming weeks. There's the Essential Pedagogies Toolkit, the Learner-Centred Pedagogies and Project-Based Learning course. And then as an extension piece, also available is the Google Certified Educator. And Em is going to cover off on those shortly. Under the teaching and learning activities, we've got some great offerings there. You'll see in that grey box, STEM and the environment, and then an activity that's been put together by the Australian Film, Television and Radio School, the Media Lab Storytelling, for teachers and students. We've also got a digital skills builder course that I'll provide a brief overview on. And then for PNG, we've also, under this teaching and learning activities, there's been a number of Solar Buddy workshops offered to PNG schools. They took place in July, and they involved providing PNG schools with materials to run their own Solar Buddy program and lead students through a solar lights and water bucket assembly process. I think they've now concluded, but that may be something of interest to Australian schools going forward. And of course, those activities really linked well to one of the overall focus areas of the PASS program, that being STEM and a focus on sustainability. So we hope that those Solar Buddy workshops were well received. We might go now, and then in the red box, under the grey box, we've got the collaborative activity. So that's the Climate Resilience Design Sprint, due to occur on the 5th of August, and Junior's going to speak a little of that at the end of this session. I've talked about the Solar Buddy sessions. There's been child protection workshops occurring in the PNG schools, and I believe the SEER workshops are being designed and will be delivered in the near future. There's also plans for leading learning to continue as part of phase 2 in PNG, and that's the stream that Anna Antonovich designs and delivers. And all of these are available, or information about these activities is available on the PASS website, and you'll see the address there for the Learning Bank, and then all the activities and courses and the supporting resources using a number of platforms. So we might go now to the next slide, Em. And I might hand over to you if you're okay to focus on professional learning for this part.
Sure, thanks, Sophie. I'm mindful that a lot of you have been involved in our sessions over the last couple of weeks, including the start of the coach training and all in Mary. So perhaps before I actually talk through what these courses entail, maybe just asking if people have had a chance to have a look at them, start accessing the materials or watch the introduction videos, and whether there's been any interest in them. I'm mindful for those Australians that have joined us, you might not be quite as familiar, but perhaps you had a chance to look at the website already and might even have some questions already about those. So the professional learning courses, there's really two key ones that have been developed for participants of this program: the Essential Pedagogies Toolkit and a course on learner-centered pedagogies and project-based learning, and they very much work hand in hand, as you can imagine. And then we also got approval from Google to be able to give out a free voucher, so teachers can undertake the Certified Google Educator as well. Otherwise, I can show you where to find them on the website, where to find the materials for them first, and then we can come back to questions afterwards. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen for a second and switch over to our website. Just bear with me 1 second. There we go. So we're on the PAS website now. Hopefully that's coming up on your screens too. And so if I head over to 2021 courses and activities, there's a bit of an introduction here. And then under professional learning courses, oh, that didn't actually work. I need to fix that one. You can see, so the information about the coach training, which is well underway, and Oli de Mary. But then, yeah, so there's the Essential Pedagogies Toolkit. So that's just a bit of an introduction there about the course. And then there's an introduction video that Chris Hart has kindly put together about this course. And then if you go across to that button, access the course materials, you'll be able to see, so for this course, there's essentially just two things that you need. One is a workbook that you follow through. And then it's a series of videos for each modules and sections of the course. So we've put all the videos as a playlist on YouTube, so you can essentially, once you start hitting play, it'll go through all the different modules one after the other, and you follow along with the workbook. For our PNG participants, we are aiming to send you the workbooks and the videos on USBs as well, so you don't have to use the internet every time you want to access the course materials. You can do it offline as well, but we're just finalizing arrangements for those. So in the meantime, you can start having a look through the versions from the website. And from the website, obviously this is, you know, quite a small screen, so you can open the workbook as a full screen, and I'll share. So that's, you know, that comes up as a full screen PDF, and you can actually also download it using that little download button at the top right corner there, so you can have a copy on your own laptop to follow along with the videos. So if I go back to the website, so that's the two essential, the two key documents, I guess, or the document and the videos that you need for this course on essential pedagogies. And what we've done with this course, it's not actually reflected on the website yet, but once you've completed it and you complete a short feedback survey, you will be able to receive a micro credential for this course. which is something that, yeah, we're just going to test for over the coming weeks. See if that's something that people are interested in doing. So once you complete the course, you get a micro credential, which you can then use to confirm that you have undertaken this course and this is what it entails and the standards that it aligned with. So the other professional learning course that we wanted to show is the learner-centered pedagogies and project-based learning course. And this course was developed by Tom Barrett, who some of our PNG participants would have met in Port Moresby last year. Obviously, as its name suggests, very much focused around learner-centered pedagogies and project-based learning. And so Tom's actually provided a helpful indicator of the time it takes to complete the course, and I suspect it'll be a similar time for the essential pedagogies. We haven't actually put it up, but looking at the similar commitment. And so again, for this course, on the main page, you've got a short introduction video that gives you a bit of an overview of what the course entails, as well as frequently asked questions. So that can be quite useful before you start undertaking it. And then if you head over to the button to access the course materials, you'll see for this course, it's relatively similar to the other one in that there's a main learning journal that you can use to as you're completing the course, as well as some videos, again, which are put together in a YouTube playlist by modules and lessons, so it's easy to follow. And then for this one, there's also an additional booklet for one of the specific module when it comes to designing or undertaking a project sprint. So again, those two PDF documents, you can open them full screen, download them on your own device. And with the videos, you can also download them, which I didn't say for the other one, but you can download them through the YouTube Go app for PNG participants, which uses a bit less bandwidth. So that's the two key self-directed professional learning courses that have been developed especially for this program and for our participants by Tom and Chris. As mentioned before, we do have an agreement with Google that if PNG participants want to undertake the Google Certified Educator course and examination, they can take part in the exam for free. So again, for the course, it's about the same amount of time as the others, about 15 hours. It's all online, documents to read, videos to watch, activities to complete, and then you take an exam to receive the Google Certified Educator Level 1. And so those that are interested in undertaking that course, we're asking to contact us so that we can arrange the vouchers for you to do that. I could actually show you, so it's the fundamentals training course that you'd be undertaking. So I'll just show you what the page looks like. Obviously, you'll need to use your Google account to be able to undertake it. You'll need to log in. And then it gives you an overview here of all the units and the modules within each unit that you need to go through and the time it takes for each of them. So I think that's it for the professional learning courses. I guess perhaps just a reminder, so for the coach training and Oli de Mary, they've been set up, which have both been designed by Anna. They've been set up so the selected participants should have access to both the WhatsApp group for these courses and the Google Drive. But if you do have any issues accessing those platforms, do let us know, because that's where all the materials will be shared. And with the coach training, some of these materials are already available. So I think Module 1 and Module 2 are available for people to complete, and we've got a check-in session next week. But for all the materials will be added on a fortnightly basis after each workshop. So we've got the next workshop next Tuesday. Thanks, Sophie.
Okay, thanks, Em, for providing that overview, and hopefully perhaps after this session you'll have some time just to explore the site yourself, or that part of it, and again, just come back to us with any queries. Sometimes, you know, you have to dive into it a bit deeper before the queries emerge, so we encourage you to do that. We thought we'd spend a little bit of time now just focusing on the teaching and learning courses, the other significant component of these activities. And the first one we'd like to feature is the Digital Skills Builder. That's been developed by Jim Sill in collaboration with Chris Hart, who you all know, hopefully, at this point in the program. It's set up in a dedicated Google Classroom available via the PASS website. So perhaps some of you have used the Google Classroom that we set up last year. It would be a similar look to that. It's a dedicated one for the Digital Skills Builder course, and a really useful practical course. I think it's something that I probably should do to improve my digital skills. Once you're in the classroom, you'll get a message, a welcome message and video in the stream, and then under the coursework is where you'll find all the materials, which include PDFs and videos for each of the 4 modules. So the course is structured around 4 modules, and they have a focus on organisation, communication, presentation, and assessment, data and analytics. Plus you're asked to complete a summary quiz on completion of those modules, which is just a good way of seeing, you know, how your understanding has progressed. This Digital Skills Builder course, we feel, is really well linked to the coaches training, and we would recommend it's undertaken prior to taking up the Google Certified Educator opportunity that Em just mentioned. So a really neat little offering there that we encourage you to engage with. Another one under the teaching and learning courses is the Student Media Lab storytelling piece. Now this, as I mentioned earlier, has been developed by the Australian Film, Television and Radio School. It's for teachers and students. It's got an introductory video that hopefully some of you saw when we launched activities earlier this year, as well as some FAQs there to guide you through your use of it. Resources for this storytelling course also include a teaching guide, you'll see there in the red, and a student workbook in the yellow, and then 3 study guides that have been very carefully developed and worked on by the team at Afters, and you will meet that team if you look at the introductory video. There's also an additional storytelling activity that you may choose to access with a focus on memorable moments. So those resources for the storytelling course are available obviously on the PASS website. They'll also be, you can download them in PDF, and we'll be making them available via the USBs that we're currently working to set up for you. So that's a really great piece, and a lot of work has gone into that to make it as relevant as possible. Great for English teachers with a literacy focus. The other course that's available under this section is the STEM and the Environment course that has been developed by Zoos Victoria in partnership with Port Moresby Nature Park. And this is a great little package that focuses on STEM and design thinking in the context of wildlife care and conservation education. Port Moresby Nature Park are the experts in the care and conservation of Papua New Guinea's local Indigenous wildlife. Many of you would be aware of that. So Zoos Victoria thoroughly enjoyed working with Port Moresby Nature Park to develop this course. And there's some really great resources that are available to you to access, for the course. And they include the self-directed course for teachers, there with the kangaroo on it, and then the teaching guide, self-directed course, and that provides a step-by-step guide on how to teach STEM and the environment curriculum activity in PDF format. That's the one on the left there. And then you've got the student workbook to accompany this activity. And that's obviously for students as they undertake the course, and available also in PDF format. Then all the activities are available via the YouTube playlist as well. And we thought, I think we've got time, if people don't mind, we might just show the clip that has been developed by Zoos Victoria and Port Moresby Nature Park for this STEM and the Environment course, just to give you a little bit more of an insight on what we're trying to introduce today. Thanks, Em.
Hello, I'm Kirsty Costa and I'm the Education Innovation Leader at Zoos Victoria in Australia. We are absolutely thrilled to launch a brand new enhanced learning opportunity as part of the PASS program. We've teamed up with our partners, the Port Moresby Nature Park, to provide you and your students with a very special program that focuses in on STEM and the environment.
Hello everyone, I'm Shelley and I am an Education Officer here at Port Moresby Nature Park.
And I am Ishimubebe, the Life Sciences Manager. We have about 550 different animals that we house here, ranging from birds, reptiles, and mammals. Most of these animals are injured or rescued. Some are surrendered by people to us for research program and for breeding. And that is why we have all these animals here, because we want people to learn about these animals and also to take care of them when they're in the wild.
As part of this program, you are going to learn how to use the design thinking process to immerse your students in solving a real-world problem. The real-world problem that you're going to tackle is that the Port Moresby Nature Park needs new enrichment ideas for the tree kangaroo and the blue-eyed cockatoo. As part of the design thinking process, your students are going to learn all about Papua New Guinea animals and your local environment. They are going to exercise their design skills to come up with a solution idea, and they're going to go through a process of testing and refining that idea. Your students are going to use different STEM skill sets and mindsets and knowledge sets as part of this program. Besides learning about animal adaptations and how zoos use this scientific information to care for animals, they're also going to learn about how there are incredible women who are working in STEM to lead conservation projects. They're going to learn about animal adaptations and how zoos use this scientific information to care for animals both at the zoo and in the wild. They're also going to meet the most incredible female leaders who are helping to work in conservation projects around the world. Your students are also going to learn about how the actual process of design thinking can be used to design any big problem that comes their way. This program has heaps of support so that you feel confident to teach it in your curriculum. You will access a self-directed course, and over 1 hour, you will experience what this program is and what it will look like in your classroom. You will then download a teaching guide that is filled with activities and step-by-step instructions, as well as, if you'd like, you can download a student workbook that guides your students through the design thinking process. There's also lots of online support that's provided by the PAS team so that you can ask any questions and have them answered, as well as sharing some of your stories and successes. This program can be taught at a time that suits you. It can be taught over a day, over a week, over a term, or over a year. And you don't need any special materials to be able to enjoy it with your students. At the end of this program, if your students would like, they can share their designs with the team at the Port Moresby Nature Park, and they will get some real and authentic feedback so that they know that they are making a difference with their learning. We are so excited to help you level up your teaching and share this program with your students and, if you'd like, your school. So on behalf of Zoos Victoria, the Port Moresby Nature Park team and the PAS team, we look forward to having you in the program and can't wait to hear how it goes.
So that's a great little introductory video put together by Zoos Victoria in partnership with Port Moresby Nature Park. And I think you'll agree that that STEM and the environment, along with many of the other courses available, really do, they're the next logical step in terms of what we were offering last year, and really do build on what we've covered off in our various past sessions to date, and build on that focus on STEM and leadership, youth voice, literacy, etc. So we really do encourage you to take the time to look at them on the PAS website, and when those packages make it to your schools, have a look at their USB versions of them as well. Did you want to say anything else just as we wrap up those two overviews?
Perhaps just a quick reminder that on that section there's also the solar buddy materials available. So I know most of you have received your solar lights now, and so you can access the solar buddy materials similar to the other ones using the button. And then there's a couple of documents that you can download for their education program kit, their lesson detail and lesson activities. So all of these are in PDF. They can be downloaded. And again, they'll be provided on USBs for you to use as well.
Thanks, Em. It's a good reminder.
Oh, it's gone down.
Did anyone have any questions around any of those activities? They really have been designed so that they're, I guess, in a box, that all the resources are there, and you can, as Kirsty said on the video, do them in your own time, at a time that suits you within your timetables, and hopefully they're there for a while for you to use. So please do so. I'm going to ask Junior now to just take your focus to a collaborative activity that we've got on offer, as I mentioned earlier, that's due to occur on the 5th of August. Junior, I'll just hand over to you.
Thank you, Sophie. Hi, everyone. So the Climate Resilience Design Sprint is scheduled for 5th August, which is Thursday of next week. It's a all-day session from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's developed in collaboration with the Australian Pacific Climate Partnership. So the aim of the sprint is to deepen students' understanding of climate resilience and the role of design thinking in preparing a community to be more resilient in the face of climate change. So that will be supported by past facilitators. That's next week. So I encourage everyone to really turn up and participate in the climate resilience sprint that will happen next week, Thursday. We also understand that climate change effect is felt at different geographical location, whether you are up in the mountains or lowlands, in the sea. And I think that's really a good session to help you think about solutions to address in our local communities using design thinking process and design skills with students and teachers. So you are all invited to participate. If you didn't register, I already sent through the registration link to the WhatsApp. You can click on the link and it will take you through to the registration. So you can be able to watch the video as well, but at the same time, get yourself registered. Registration is due this week by Friday. So if you haven't, please click on the link and register yourself and participate in this exciting event that's next week. Thank you, Sophie.
Thanks, Junior. And I think we've just got enough time just perhaps to show a short video that Chris Hart's put together regarding the sprint. We'll do that now.
Climate Resilience Sprint promo. We're really excited to be able to share a new design sprint with you, which has been designed in partnership with the Australian Pacific Climate Partnership, as well as PNGAus Partnership Secondary Schools. What we're going to do is to explore the challenges around storms. We know that data is telling us that while we might get actually fewer storms in the Pacific, they are going to be much, much more powerful with the impact of human climate change. So we're going to be exploring in this design sprint what it means to be a healthy and resilient community. What are the factors which keep our community resilient to climate change and to the impacts of weather in particular. And in this particular weather, we're talking about storms. And here's a great example of the Christmas Day hailstorm up in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, which destroyed many crops there. So we'll explore some data, we'll explore some stories so we deeply understand the challenge. We'll use design thinking, which many of you are now very aware of and great at using. We'll understand the challenge of storms and the impact of storms from empathy. You'll define a how might we question for your particular community, come up with some great ideas to tackle your how might we question, and build some prototypes to share your ideas, and then rinse and repeat as much as you want to. So we'll use this design thinking process to look at innovations and how we can innovate. So here's a couple of examples: concrete canvas for after really bad storms which have destroyed houses. This is an inflatable dwelling which actually uses a really interesting material, which is canvas but with built-in concrete, so that you can create a really solid structure very, very quickly. And on the other hand, sometimes during storms we lose electricity, one of the things that we'll examine during the design sprint. And Luminate here is a bag which floats. It can be attached to things, and it glows and provides light for up to 3 years with no moving parts. So some really interesting innovations that we can explore around what we can do to prepare for, to be more resilient towards storms when they do happen, and then to deal with the aftermath of storms as well in Papua New Guinea. So we're really excited to see what you could design in terms of preparing and becoming more resilient in the face of things like storms.
Okay. Okay, so that concludes our overview of the activities available. I'm just going to put it out there one more time. If anyone had any questions, don't be shy. All questions are good. And if you think of any after this session also, they'd be more than welcome. Please get in touch with us either via WhatsApp or the support email for the past schools. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for making the time to join us this afternoon, for your engagement. It's so great to see some really solid connections out there. It's such an improvement, I think you'll all agree, from last year, and will go a long way, I think, to making our future activities really enjoyable and getting a lot from them. It's great to have Kathleen join us from Australia. Thank you, Kathleen. And I know Maini has been on the line. Derek was briefly. I neglected to acknowledge Mary earlier. Good to have you join us. Really great to have your time this afternoon and interest in these activities that we feel are really worthwhile. Hi, Maini. So if there aren't any further questions, I might draw the session to a close, but please, you know, have a look at them. And just noting, I guess, the next key dates for the program for PNG schools, the coaches training on Monday, that's an optional session, a check-in, the O-Leader Mary on Tuesday, and then the Climate Resilience Design Sprint on Thursday, the 5th of August. And please do register your schools. We've had some great interest from Australia and really encouraging the PNG schools to register as well.
I've just noticed, Sophie, that Ethel's got a hand up.
Okay, great.
Do you have a question, Ethel?
I have, it's quite silly, but I'm just trying to inquire. You mentioned last time in the coach session about micro-credentials. If we are going to ask our friends to attend and complete the course, would they also be eligible for the micro-credentials, or would it be the coaches only plus the past aids?
That's a very good question. So initially for the coach training, we were working on the basis of having selected participants, but considering that it's all being delivered online and all accessible or can be made accessible for others to join, anyone that completes the coach training would then be eligible to receive the micro-credential. The requirements will be to complete all the modules that Anna's designed, and then attend the, so complete all the modules, including the activities and the reflections, and attend the last session as well. All the other sessions are optional for this course. And then there'll be a short feedback survey about the overall course. And once you've completed the survey, then you can get the micro-credential. So yeah, that's for coach training. There will be also, so there's a micro-credential also for the digital skills builder. So for this one, it's all very much, you know, you do it in your own time, at your own pace, using the Google Classroom. There's one for the Essential Pedagogies Toolkit. And then I think that's it for now. And depending on how, you know, how much interest there is in those micro-credentials, we can look at introducing some for some of the other courses moving forward as well. Pleasure, Ethel. Glad that helped. And then, in terms of your question for the climate resilience sprint next week, obviously because we understand it's quite a commitment, being a full day with a bit of, you know, online, offline. It's not a requirement. Obviously, you won't be penalised if you don't take part. It's more the merrier. and, you know, in terms of the kind of ideas that student might come up with, if we have a mix of, you know, Australian and PNG schools, it'd be really interesting to see the diversity of solutions that they design. But yeah, completely understand it's, you know, on a school day. So if it's a bit too difficult to organise, that's fine. For the sprint, we will actually also make the materials available online for those who can't join the day. And so you can run it in your own time, in your own school later on. And even for those that do take part, if they want to do it again with a different group of students at another time, that's obviously also possible.
Thanks, Em. Great use of the chat box thereby. Thank you. Any final questions?
Okay, thank you. Here with me, I have this about 15 participants from Gumini Secondary. We are attending to this session, and we are just inquiring about next week, Thursday. There's a program that will be launched next week, Thursday, on this design sprint on climate resilience. It's going to be, I mean, a bit difficult for our kids because I saw the timing is from 9 a.m. to 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to 3 p.m. I think. Maybe we might not include our students because they'll be having classes, and maybe one or two that are available we may attend. We have not registered yet, but hopefully we should get ourselves registered by today or tomorrow. Or is it compulsory?
Yeah, that sounds fine. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I guess it's primarily targeted at students to go through the sprint. And so if you can have 1 or 2 students attend and supervised by teachers, that's great. But if the students are not available and the teachers still want to join, that's perfectly fine. And then it'll give them also a good idea of how to run it in your school for other students later on. So that's perfectly fine as well.
Thank you.
And we know there's a lot on offer with the coach training, or Leader Mary, and now the design sprint. So it's difficult to commit to everything.
We know it's a big commitment, but I think it will be really worthwhile. It's a great activity that Chris Hart has put together with the Australia Pacific Climate Partnership, and we just encourage as much participation as possible. So we might wrap it up there. Again, thank you for your attention and your interest. Do send through questions if you think of them after the session. And yeah, coaches, there's the session on Monday, I'll Leader Mary on Tuesday, and the sprint on Thursday. A big week ahead. Great to see you all, and enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay well. Until next time.